Hello and welcome to the Virtual Public Involvement, or VPI Capstone video. I'm Bob Washington, an Environmental Protection Specialist in the Federal Highway Administration Office of Project Development and Environmental Review and the VPI team. Virtual Public Involvement, or VPI, is a set of engagement tools that expands the reach of transportation planners and environmental professionals beyond in-person engagement. These innovative tools, which work best when combined with in-person outreach, are designed to engage with a broader population, remove barriers to engagement, and make public involvement more accessible, convenient, and affordable. Different projects and different communities require different strategies to ensure that community voices steer transportation decision-making. VPI expands the Transportation Planner's Toolkit to meaningfully engage communities and meet people where they are. When used alongside in-person engagement, VPI leads to better transportation outcomes rooted within their specific communities. FHWA's VPI initiative was part of the Everyday Counts program, a program dedicated to helping state DOTs, MPOs, and local agencies advance practice-ready and proven innovations into everyday use. From 2019 to 2022, the VPI initiative engaged with agencies in over 35 states, including over 4,000 webinar participants, 400 workshop participants, and 7,000 case study views. This broad engagement has helped to expand VPI tool use and practices to agencies around the country. So how have practitioners used VPI around the country, and what benefits have they seen? One benefit of VPI is the ability to meet people where they are, which often means in their homes. Corvallis Area MPO used a virtual open house to gather feedback for their transportation improvement program. By holding the open house virtually, the MPO received more robust engagement than they would from a traditional open house.
The advantage to the virtual open house is that people from all the different communities could kind of comfortably comment on those projects from their own home.
However, VPI can also be used to complement more traditional in-person engagement.
Our in-person workshops included keypad polling questions. Those questions were repeated in survey questions that we included in these iPad kiosks that we stationed in 25 places throughout the region that contained these light survey questions.
VPI also has the potential to increase the number of participants in a planning process by opening new methods of communication. Indianapolis Metropolitan Planning Organization uses live question and answer sessions to meet the public where they are.
When we did our long-range transportation plan update last time around, we had 2 meetings in each county, and we averaged about 5 people at each meeting. But recently, we've been doing some online live Q&A sessions, for example, on Facebook, and we had one recently for our pedestrian plan. We had over 600 people either watching that live or viewing it after the fact.
North Carolina DOT also used an online MetroQuest survey to reach more of the public for their state transportation improvement program.
We went from having probably 200 to 300 people provide feedback in the STIP process to over 3,000.
VPI can also increase efficiencies in both staff time and dollars spent on engagement. Minnesota DOT held a pop-up outreach event at the State Fair with iPad surveys, which yielded high turnout and cost savings.
Our most efficient activity was when we went out to the State Fair and set up a booth, and we got 4,000, 5,000 responses in just a dot survey. But we also, the iPad surveys, they're in the range of about $40 to $60 per response. To give that some context, our stakeholder forums were over $100 per response.
VPI, in the form of targeted online ads, can help reach different geographic areas or demographics that would be more difficult to do with traditional public involvement methods. For their Complete Streets master plan, Broward MPO used geo-targeted ads to attract people in counties they wanted to engage.
For example, with our Complete Streets master plan, we actually did some Facebook ads, and that drove a lot of people, not only to our Facebook page, but it also drove them to the survey, which was a link that people could access from that ad. That way we weren't just talking to ourselves, we weren't just talking to our current audience, but we were expanding that audience. That was pretty successful. We got over 1,000 surveys back for that process. We also did it organically with other platforms, because we also use Twitter, we also use LinkedIn, we also use Instagram.
VPI can also be useful for reaching rural and low broadband communities. In Alaska, where about 83% of communities are located off-road systems, the state DOT has been successful using social media platforms to engage with residents. Colorado DOT used telephone town halls for rural and low broadband outreach.
The Colorado Department of Transportation hosted 15 town halls, 10 in rural transportation planning regions, and 5 in metropolitan regions, to hear about each area's needs and priorities. Live polling included questions on how CDOT should invest limited dollars. Nearly 58,000 people participated in these sessions for some length of time.
VPI can be used to reach people with disabilities. For their long-range transportation plan, Michigan DOT developed a MetroQuest survey for engagement.
We developed an accessible PDF reader version of the survey for people who are visually impaired, as well as a paper version of the survey for the public. As part of the Phase 2 survey, to assist the deaf, blind, and hard of hearing community, we have also had the survey transcribed into American Sign Language by a certified deaf interpreter, and have embedded videos of those transcriptions into the accessible version of the survey.
You can explore these great examples of VPI and more at the new VPI website. The website houses all of the resources developed during the VPI initiative, including 14 webinars, 8 peer exchanges, 24 case study videos, and 18 fact sheets. The site's VPI toolkit provides dozens of examples of how states, MPOs, and local agencies are using innovative VPI tools in their public involvement work. In the VPI resource section, you'll find fact sheets for different tools, in-depth case studies, and recordings of workshops and webinars. Public involvement needs will grow and change over time. The resources on the VPI website are here to help along the way.
The public isn't one person, and the public doesn't stay the same. They're constantly evolving, they're very diverse, their needs will be changing continually. Staying focused on the public and trying to come up with new and better ways to finding out what they need, how they listen, how they learn, all of those are critical for us to be able to provide information better to them and to learn from them so we can serve them better.
We're excited to continue following the work of the transportation community in VPI. Please stay in touch with us and share your work. You can find contact information for FHWA staff on the VPI website. We know that VPI practices are continuing to evolve, and practitioners are going to push the envelope, keep experimenting, and finding ways to use technology to make public involvement more convenient, meaningful, and equitable. We're excited to see where you take us next.